Good morning, ladies. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're coming in from. I have a few of you coming in from South Africa and uh, Australia and some fun places. So it's good. I'm looking all around and I catch myself, and I don't usually watch my own videos, but I usually will when I ever went. But when I do, I notice I'm looking all around. I'm like, what are you looking at? And I realize I'm looking at everybody in there. And it's fun to see you. It's fun to see you all. Some of you, you're not your it's just your pictures, so they're beautiful. Patricia, your picture's gorgeous. That's just stunning. Fun pictures. Yay. Well, good morning to everyone. Again, good afternoon, wherever you, or if you're listening later, good evening. Good evening. Good day, mate. I've been watching a lot of Australian TV for some reason lately. It's and if I start using an Australian accent, and I was talking with Katrina last night, and I was cracking up because I thought I am literally going to start having an accent. I pick them up really fast, and it's embarrassing. So let me know. I probably will if I slip into an Australian accent. This could be fun. But I am excited today because we're actually hopping into the letter Bet and our second section of 119. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go through just a few little PowerPoints. And as I do, I'm going to stop in between because I want to get your input. Again, this is a interactive session, and I love hearing from you and love hearing what you're learning, what you've gleaned maybe from this time through that you have never gleaned before. We have ladies from all ends of the spectrum. I don't know that I've posted. Kim has been sharing her notes, and I put them over on Band. But when we, her and I maybe can work together, and I'll divide them up and put them in under each letter. But they're phenomenal. And thank you for your vulnerability, Kim, for sharing those notes, because it's vulnerable when we allow other people to see what we're learning or what's in our heart. And I feel like it kind of opens this up to someone maybe criticizing. So no criticizing allowed. How about that? So exciting. All right, here we go. Oh, fun. I'm listening to, I have to stop looking at the little chat notes because I could get distracted easily. So I learned a fun thing. If you have any issues with attention, any attention deficit challenges, one of the things that's really helpful for you is to, if you have a lot to do for the day, keep your shoes on. Keep your shoes on. There's something else that I use. I'll tell you when we're not recording, but keeping your shoes on. There's other items in your wardrobe that you should be wearing that will keep your mindset in a frame of mind that you're actually working. So if you have work to do, it's funny, if you're walking around barefooted, your brain won't focus because it doesn't make you feel like you have a place to go and something to do. So speaking of focusing, let's focus on this. We're at Bet. We're at Psalms 119, 9 through 16. And this one was really good for me. It's not my favorite, and I'm not playing. I really think this is my favorite, and I may change my mind, but right now for today, it's my favorite. And I would someone be willing to unmute their mic and read this for us? Anyone? I would love it. Anyone have
I will.
Good, go for it.
How can a man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word. With my whole heart have I sought you. Let me not stray from your mitzvot. I have treasured your word in my heart, so I might not sin against you. Blessed are you, Adonai. Teach me your statutes. With my lips I rehearse all the rulings of your mouth. I rejoice in the way of your testimonies above all wealth. I will meditate on your precepts and guard your ways. I will delight in your decrees. I will never forget your word.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Father, we thank you. Thank you for your word. We thank you, Father, that you have written it in our hearts. This letter is the letter of our heart, that you've set up residence in us. Father, I ask today that we would be pleasing to you and that we would hear your voice and what you have for us with this letter and with these verses today. Amen. Well, we'll go from simple. We'll start at the simple. Bait rhymes with mate, which is not, grab my little bookie here, which is not because I'm watching Australian TV. It just rhymes with mate, bait and mate. So sometimes it's hard to remember. And it is a Hebrew word for house or temple. And it's really interesting. This is a really fun nerd fact about this letter, is that it is the number 2. We talk about the gematria, which is the numbering system, and how instead of using numbers, the this is the letters equal the numbers, right? So this letter bait is actually the number 2. And if you are a math person, you will appreciate the fact, and this little tidbit, and I hope that it speaks to your heart in some way, is that 2 is the first number that can be divided, right? Divided and stand on its own. So it's kind of interesting. And I will go back and talk about in a little while that bait is the first letter of Torah, right? Bait. And that little teeny dot you see there in the middle is called a dagesh. And I hope I said that right. Kim can help me if I did not. The dot in the middle is a dagesh. And I was reading about, people will say it means the one who lives within, it's kind of its own little meaning. But with that dot, it has the b sound. And without it, it has a v sound. So without it, it's a v. And if someone's in the house, it's a b. If no one's in the house, it's a v. How about vacant? It's vacant, so v. That might not be good. And again, one of the things that hit me, and I did read this somewhere, and I didn't remember where to give them credit, but Yeshua divided himself from his Father's house in heaven to come to earth and unite with mankind. And when we look at where do we see Yeshua, I know we're using Brenda Strauss class, her Aleph Bet course, Discovering the Energy of the Letters. As we go through this is another place we find Yeshua. We find Yeshua in this number because he did remove himself to unite with us. I have all these faces in the way. I'm sorry, I'm going to move you guys over to the left. So just another thing for bait. Oop. Yeah, I am going to get this one day. So this letter for bait is spelt, if you want to spell out the word for bait, right? It's spelt out bait, yod, and tav. And again, it means a household or a house. And you can see there up at the top here, we have a bait. There we go, a bait, and then the yod, and then the tav. And that's how you actually spell the word bait. And Torah begins with the letter bait. And I put this picture up here, and I shouldn't have put a big circle over the top of it, but this is a picture of like a Bedouin tent. The doors open, which is an invitation. It's an invitation, but it's also could be dangerous, right? Because it's one area of it is open for invitation. So it could appear that it's incomplete. And the sages say that the reason that the bait is open like one of these tents is because it's an invitation for us to partner with the creator of the universe to complete creation, to tend it, to create, to partner with him to finish it. And I just love that this is an invitation as we see, as it's starting out, beginning Torah. I just saw this letter. It was an invitation. It was the door saying, come in. We hear Yeshua saying, I'm the door, right? We have the door into the tabernacle. We have a door into a sheepfold. We have a lot of doors that we could just spend time talking about doors. But this door is open in this house. So you can also see it, and you look at it, it kind of looks like a sukkah. And many say that the letter bait looks like a sukkah. And we spend some time talking about these things, and they seem trivial. But what happens is that especially for those of us who are doing this maybe for the first time, or maybe you're doing it just, and it's not committing to memory. It's so that when you see that letter, one of these little things is going to grab you, and you're going to be like, okay, I remember what that letter is. It's the bait, because it kind of looks like a sukkah, or whatever hits you. You're going to remember that, so it helps you as a mnemonic device. So one of the things I love that I had read is just remembering that Yeshua comes in and he sups with us. And that's that invitation, that door. That bait is the house that the Aleph lives in. And Aleph and Bet together, those two letters together, actually make up the word for father. Here's just a few words that I grabbed off of a study that I'm working on. A few words that start with the letter bait, and you can see someone's in the house, so it's a bait. You see it, the little dot, that doggish is in there. And we see the word, you pronounce this Beth El, and Yeshua is said to have tabernacled with us, whose body was indeed, gosh, Lord, I'm going to have to use a different thing. Here we go. Whose body was indeed Bet El, the inhabitation of God Almighty. The next word I have on here is bara, to create. Bara is always applied to Yahweh's ability to create, not man's. So because it means to form something out of nothing, which only God can do, starting the create, and that's in air quotes here, word with bait, shows that creation without Yah tabernacling or being present is this process is impossible. Do you see that? Do you see you have this word, you have the bait and the resh and the aleph, and without the aleph, without Yah, without the Father tabernacling with us, then creation is non-existent. And then we have bana. I pray that I'm saying that right, which means to build. Bana is something mankind can do, yet the presence of the bait, as the first letter shows, Yah tabernacling within, enabling the building, and unless Yahweh builds the house, they labor in vain that build it. Isn't that beautiful? Do you guys see it? Now I'm praying that since we've done the aleph, I chose these just because I wanted you to have something. If you see, you here are seeing here this last one, to build, you're seeing here that unless he's building, there's the build, there's the aleph, and unless he builds that house, we labor in vain. And then I pulled this out of one of my favorite little books. It's called The Book of Letters by L. Kushner. And I'm just going to read it for you. It says, bait is drawn with two little points. And you guys see it? You guys can kind of see it in the writing. It's the two little points. I'm going to point to it. See the little point up here and then a little point here down at the bottom. Wait, I'll wait till my little guy gets bigger. There it is. He's right there and he's right there, right here down at the bottom. So it's drawn with these two little points, one pointing above and the other pointing behind and towards the right. In this way, when someone asks the bait, hey, who made you? It points above. And if they ask, what's his name? He points towards the aleph as if to say, one is his name. Is that beautiful? You know, a lot of times there's some people who they're really poo-poo having rabbinical sources or what sages say, but I love the dimensionality. I love the color. It's like watching a baseball game and not having someone tell you the color. You know, you have a color announcer who will say, hey, you know, Johnny Seth came from University of Arkansas and his grandmother is a long time here. You know, he'll go on and on, tell you that they call it the color of the game. Now, does that have anything to do with the game itself? No, but what it's giving you is some background. It's giving you some dimensionality. And for me as a woman, I'm investing now in Johnny because now I know where he went to school. I know who his grandma is. I love that. And that's a tip that I have. I should put this in Marriage Moments as a tip that if your husband is a sports guy, find out some of the players on his team, find out who their wives are, find out what they love to do, because it's easy to cheer for someone that you know, like you'll know, oh, I know this guy and his wife works at such and such, or this is something great she did. So then you'll find yourself cheering for him because you know a little bit more about him. So I'm going to stop us sharing for just a minute, and I want to hear from you now. I want to hear from all of you. What did you, those of you who watched the Energy of the Letters, Discovering the Energy of the Letters with Brenda, tell me, unmute or raise your hand and we can unmute you. So either way, and find out what you learned or what you got to this point to share. Anyone?
Who was on? I only see myself.
Oh no, we have a lot. There's several ladies on. So Patricia, did you have anything to add? Did you watch the Energy of the Letters for the bait or?
I didn't. Okay. Now I gotta go. I gotta find it so that I can watch it.
Exciting. Okay, very cool. So for those of you that don't, if you go into, there's a couple ways that you can find the Energy of the Letters. One of the ways is if you on your mobile device, if you will, you can download the Kajabi app. It's Kajabi. You download that app and on any mobile device, and then you sign in with your email that you use for the Rooted Cafe and your password. Then you're going to have everything on your mobile device. So then all you have to do is go in there and you could actually watch things right from your phone, which I love. Is probably my favorite way to find it. I'm in and out both, but for different reasons. So I really encourage you to download that app. Download it on your any mobile device that you use all the time. I have it on my phone. That's what I'm using. But if you, as you go in there and you could watch and then just pick one of the letters, you don't have to watch his 3 videos for each letter. And then there's homework and there's flashcards. So you can literally deep dive you can go as far in the deep end of learning each letter and each section as you want every week, or you just show up and let us bless you and let us fill your cup and encourage you that maybe you'll go back and watch it for later in the week. The other thing that's inside, if you go in there maybe I should just go ahead and share my screen again and show you what's in here because let's see. All right, I'm going to share my screen and let y'all see. So when you go to the rootedcafe.com, and if you spell cafe wrong, I finally purchased the other site. So that way, and you hit login. You can also just go underneath your little picture and log in. Okay. So, and then you're going to go right into your library. And whenever you want to look at all the cafe calls, when you hear us talking about the different calls we have, when you click on here, I might as well do it now, you can see all the different calls that are happening. So the discipleship calls, the marriage, and usually within 24 hours, the calls are posted, the newer calls. So you'll know they're on there if you missed something. So never feel like you're behind. There's always something to do. So here's that Aleph Bet course is in there. So when you click on it, and again, on your phone, it's really easy to see as well. You'll see there's flashcards you can download. There's practice pages she has on there for you. You can click on there. So what you do is you click on it and then you see all these downloads. Here's a bunch of, there's class notes. If you extra stuff, you want to just take your own notes. I mean, you could literally make this as intense as you want. And then she has a whole thing about how to draw. Well, let's just open it because like, how do you draw an Aleph? You download it, you hit download, and then she'll go through and it's all the letters. So it's going to show you how to draw each one of them. 1, 2, 3. So if you're wanting to use this for homeschooling, ladies, this is a fantastic thing to use for homeschool. And each of these could actually be, if you're like me and you're the laminating queen, you just cut these out and laminate them. And that way you can use them for that. And then there's just different flashcards, but this at least just shows you how to write each one of the letters. And now you're kind of learning, you'll learn like, oh wait, someone's inside the house. So that's going to sound different. That's why now you'll know there's a difference between pay and fay. So we know the difference between the vet and bet. It's because someone's in the house and the house is vacant. How about that? So that's kind of fun. That's an extra tool that's inside of there. There is so much in there, but you can see she has discussion questions telling you the difference between block letters. Again, you go as deep as you want. I'm not going to overwhelm you today, but if you go under each one of the letters, we'll start with bait, and you can see that bait has what am I, what's my story, and where's Yeshua. Each one of those videos is about 20 minutes long. And then there's also homework. So if you wanted to go a little bit deeper and what is the homework and what are some of the discussion questions on these, you can just download that, click the little downloady button, and you can go through and you can say, what am I learning? We can describe the energy of this letter. How do you see Messiah revealed within walking out this letter? Again, great resource for those of you who are homeschooling. And not just for yourself, and you could take the course along with your kids. So I always believe that you can repurpose content, not trying to constantly doing it over and over and over and always the same, right? Okay, anyone else have anything, excuse me, you want to share about the letter bait so far? Where you're at, what you learned, did you do anything ahead of time? Yes, Jackie.
Hi. There's a couple things, and I am trying to do the class with Brenda. I'm only just finished a bet.
Good. Well, how about just do it along with us and just do it one a week, right?
And I have it all in one notebook, so that would work perfect. And I got the thing that I love a whole lot about it is that it's the door
Mm.
and it's the covering for us. And so I think I got this from Brenda. It says the power of God bringing the covenant into the house and the kingdom.
Yes.
Yes. And so it's like just everything else that blows my mind on a daily basis. It points right to Jesus,
Yeah.
you know, right to Yeshua.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's really great. I love that. And just so you know, it's okay in this. I know I've been in classes where they're offended if for some reason if you say Jesus. I'll just let you know you're allowed to say that name here.
Okay.
That sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I've shared with some of you. I prayed and prayed about that before, and I'm like, Father, this is this is how I met you. God, I mean, I met you as Jesus, and it's kind of like my granddaughters call me Yaya. That's not my real name, but I come running when they call me that name, and I know as they grow older and as they'll stop calling me Yaya, or maybe not. Maybe it'll be our pet name, and they'll continue to do that. But we love it, and so you're fine. Yeah. So thank you for that. Thanks for sharing that. That is really good. Anybody else have anything they want to share that maybe they've learned? If not, maybe not, if they didn't do the discovering of letters, any sections, did you have anything else you learned? Yes, Kimberly.
The words that stuck out to me the most in her talk about that were legacy, identity, releases, imparting, and establishing. And so then as I read the 8 verses that go with this letter, I can really see how God is saying, in my house, this is how you learn about me. This is how my legacy is imparted into you. This is how I release my life to you. This is how I am established in your household. And then again, I can turn it around and say, Father, how do I teach my children? And I can read these 8 verses again, and I can say, oh, this is how I do it. This is how I be the matriarch of my home, and I establish a legacy of the Father in my children, and how I release life of the Father into my children, and impart identity into my children. So that's what I got out of it.
That's beautiful. This is going to be, what's going to be fun for me is I'm excited. Sorry, I'm trying to fight something right now. It's going to be fun for me is as you're on band, or maybe you sending me emails, I want to hear about, as you're seeing other letters and you're like, you see words, maybe it's as you're looking at the Parsha for the week and you see words, and you might see the words and say, oh my, that starts with bait, so I know that this is a bait. So I am already seeing that this is a house. Oh, look, there's the dot in the middle. That means it's a bait. It's bait, that someone's there, his presence. So and all of these pictures of what this letter means is going to be added to that word. So you're going to see that word has more dimension than maybe house or whatever the word is. Like we looked when we started earlier with some of the words, you're going to see the letter bait in it and you'll be like, oh, this is amazing. Yes, Miss Lauren.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what she was saying and kind of tags in with my observation. This whole section, the word heart for bait is mentioned twice, and heart is another symbol of bait, heart of the home, and your heart is focused on God. But heart is spelled lamed, bait. And the lamed represents teaching. And so it's the teaching of our heart that gets that legacy infused into the heart of our home. It's making, making God known in our homes that sets the tone of our hearts and our homes. So it kind of all piggybacks on what she was mentioning as well.
Awesome. And so those of you who can see your screens, and that was Lauren Cruz talking. And if you haven't did her book with us last year, it's the Strength of a Woman. And I have a couple slides on this, Miss Lauren. So yes, exactly what she's saying right here. You can see what she said right there is that lebab is heart. Oop. And that's of course, assuming that Charlie knows how to use her. I have to change the sensitivity of my mouse. Lamed Bait, like she said, and that's on page 17 of Strength of a Woman. For those of you who do have her book and you're looking at it, she's a beautiful thing. I actually tagged it because I'd like to read it to you. There's this section on there. It says, have you heard the saying, but you guys already heard it from the author's lips. So this is gonna be me trying to read it. Have you heard the saying, the heart of a home? The Hebrew word for heart, lebab, has an interesting wordplay with the imagery, which I think applies to Proverbs 31:11. Heart is spelled lamed. The word picture means leader. And we talked about this also, instruction, which Lauren brought out, and bait. Word picture means heart or home. These word pictures reveal the heart leads the home and what is inside. The imagery also illustrates two hearts represented by bait walking together. These can represent the hearts of the husband and the wife, but even more, the heart of the believer walking with God. If we offer God a heart that requests him, an attitude of love and trust will overflow into our home. A strong woman, 2 Chronicles 14:11, reminds us God is available to help those who have no strength. Psalms 9:10 promises those who put their trust in the Lord and seek him will not be forsaken. When we are afraid, Psalms 56:3 encourages us to put our trust in God. Having a heart for God is reflected when God does not just visit the home, but rather he dwells in it. Not beautiful? So we can see when you're in Psalms 119, 10 and 11, the last two verses for this week, we can see what he's saying, with my whole heart have I sought you. I have treasured your word in my heart so that I might sin against you. I love, this is the Tree of Life version. And I love that it says, I have treasured. It's more than just guard. It's I've treasured it. And that word means so much more to me than hidden, that it's, we think hidden treasure. I will hide your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. But I love it. I have treasured your word, because doesn't that feel like it's bringing our heart into it even more?
Mhm.
And what we do is we make a dwelling place for God in our hearts. Lauren, are you?
Yeah, I'm tracking with you, sister.
Gotcha. Good. So I continued on with this because I was loving, I've been incorporating this each week because I know Lauren's hopping in with us here. His home is in our hearts, y'all. His home is in our hearts. It is the home where we learn to forgive, we learn to love. And again, this was taken directly out of Lauren's book. We learn forgiveness. We learn how to love. We learn trusting people. We learn how to be compassionate. This is the place where we learn all those things. And isn't it interesting? We go back to it, everything builds on something. Isn't it interesting that the Torah begins with the letter bait? Because it's the place of the heart. And when he said he's writing this on our hearts, and this is the place, this is the Torah, this is where we're learning all these things. And I'm thinking, what is the things that are keeping me? And I can't remember, but I believe you asked that too, Lauren, and even in your book, what's keeping you from releasing your heart and trust in him? Because that's one of the things that's difficult in walking in Torah. That's one of the things, as we're looking in Psalms 119, is it's hard to treasure something that you don't trust. If you haven't understood the love and the forgiveness in it, and instead you see it as condemnation and laws, you see it as a horrible, maybe you haven't had a great home experience. So this illustration is very difficult because you didn't grow up in a place where there was heart inside the home, and it wasn't the place you learned positive things. And so trusting his plan and trusting him might be a little bit difficult for you. So I'm going to go back because anything else? Anyone else have anything to add to that? Now you can see me better. Here's the picture, the strength of a woman.
Hey, I wanted to mention too, he mentioned statutes and ordinance and keeping my commands. And, at first glance, it seems like, oh, isn't that legalistic or isn't that hard? But the more we study and the more we learn and the more we encounter, those commandments become the tether. It tethers our heart to him. And verse 10, it says, don't let me wander, don't let me wander away from your commandments. And so those commandments and those statutes and ordinances and the knowledge of them is what actually ties our heart to him.
That is so great. Are you seeing the picture that as we're tethered to him, it's like being tethered to your home? You know what's happening. And maybe if you didn't have that home environment that you can just say, oh yes, I had this experience, but I feel like we can all say that this is an environment we'd like to create in our homes, what we would like in our homes. So if we have it in our hearts to create that, we know it must come from our Father. But he's like she's saying in verse 10, when it says that may I not stray from your mitzvah, may I not stray from your commandments. It's really tying us back to I want my heart. If you're abiding in me, remember he says, if you abide in me and my word abides in you, wait, this is all about bait. This is all about being in the home. Then whatever you ask, I'm going to give it to you. If you abide in me and my word abides in you, whatever you ask, I'm going to give it to you. Why? Because you're coming from a place of knowing what you can ask for. And you're knowing if you're abiding with someone in their home, in this house, like for example, growing up, my daughter living in my home, abiding with me, my words abiding with her, the rules of the house abiding with her. She knew that she couldn't ask to borrow the family car. That wouldn't be a car she could use, but we did have a car that was set aside that she could use. She knew that she could ask for that. She would know the rules to that. She would never come to me asking for a mink coat. Why? Because she abided in our home and we didn't live in an environment, first of all, that would even warrant the use of a coat that warm. But there was more to that. She would know what she could ask for because she knew kind of what I was going to say yes to or what her dad would say yes to. That makes sense? So you already know the rules when you're abiding and when you're treasuring things and when you're keeping in your heart, you know what you can ask for and you already know what he's going to say yes to. This word really hit me in praying for the salvation of my spouse, because, and I want to pass this on to you with your children, pass it on to you for your family, maybe walking in Torah or understanding his commandments, understanding his word and having this experience themselves. I promise you, I abide with him. His word, I abide in that bait. And I listen, and this is the place where I'm trained and I know, and what I know is this, it is his will that your family knows his word. It is his will that your family member is in intimate walk with him. So now I can pray with thanksgiving and I present my request to him now with thanksgiving, because I know that I'm in alignment because I live in the house. I know that I can ask for that, but now I know I can just thank him for it. So I thank you, Father, and I release my faith. I release heaven. I thank you, Father. I thank you, Father, that every woman that's listening right now, that their children, their spouses, their family members will walk in your statutes, that will fall in love with your word, that you would start igniting that in their hearts as they build their homes, as they build up residency with you. I thank you because I know that's your will. So I thank you for it. And I thank you that it is done. And no longer do we have to cry and beg and be sad about it, but we wake up excited. Is today the day? Is today the day that you take off the veils and let them walk with you? Is today the day? And I thank you for that. That's life-changing, ladies. It's life-changing. I went from, oh, I'm by myself and no one ever does this, to he showed me it was like a present at the end of the bed. And every morning I woke up and said, thank you for my present. Is today the day? Do I get to open it today? Is today the day? My granddaughters went to Disneyland 2 days ago. And, it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And they knew before that, they knew like a couple, I told my daughter, sis, you just do not tell your children that you're going to Disneyland until that morning, because you just don't, because every day they're going to drive you crazy. Are we going today? How about today? Is today? How many more days? How many more wake ups? There's one thing about building anticipation, but there's certain things you wait until the day of to keep your sanity. This is that same thing. He's promised you that he doesn't want anyone to perish. He promised you that you and your house will be saved. You abide in this. You know that this is his plan and his will. So rejoice in it. Speak life to those things that are not. It's not a fake it till you make it. It isn't. He's already made it. His word has already said it. If you're abiding in it, There's life to it. So see at the end of your bed all the little boxes of each person, and you just wake up going, is today the day? Do I get to open it today? Is today the day? Okay, if not today, but thank you, Father. I'm so excited. I can't wait. You know what? You will be in your house, in your bait. You will be so much easier to live with. There will be a joy that comes from you. I'll tell you, it scared my husband. He was like, I was scared bejeebies, because all of a sudden you were like, oh, I've let you go. You're in his hands. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what he does, because he's already promised me that this is going to happen. So what do you want for breakfast? And I was a different person, because I wasn't weighed down by this. Oh God, please. Instead, it was, is today the day? Is today the day? Is this going to really happen? I cannot even wait. And it did happen. It did happen. I have a family member right now that I'm praying for, and I was started to do that. And he reminded me, remember the presents? Remember that you're supposed to pray with thanksgiving when you present your request to me. And then what happens? It says the peace of God, that shalom, that unfractured wholeness, that it's beyond understanding. It'll guard my heart, my bait. It's going to guard this, and it's going to guard my mind. Because why? Because I'm submitting my requests with thanksgiving. Is it a secret sauce formula? Yeah, I think that's the recipe, because it has changed my life. So this family member, I started praying for her, because I was like, oh God, I just want to, and I started to go to that place because I've grown up. That's how I was taught. And I remembered, I mean, gosh, it's been 30 years since he brought this revelation to me. And he goes, remember the presents? And I know that meant everything I just shared with you. And all of a sudden, the bait, the teachings in the bait, the teachings in the house, what's hidden in my heart, what's treasured in here, I begin to start thanking him. I have to read this to you because you'll appreciate. So I'm thanking him for sending people into her life. Thank you, Father, that you're bringing people that she will listen to, because, you know, obviously it won't be me, that you're listening to these people, and she's going to bring people that will start speaking and ignite, and you're going to start igniting your word. And he reminded me, do you remember I ignited it in your heart? There was nobody around. And I'm the one who started pointing out things to you that got you excited about my word and about a Hebraic perspective, about walking in the way. From deep Church of God, I was not co-pastoring, I was interim pastoring for a Church of God in Merced, California, in the middle of full-on Christianity, getting ready for Easter sermon. And that's when he starts his word, because I'm abiding in his bait. He starts going, is that what that really means? And he starts poking at my heart. He did that to me. It wasn't somebody else. It was the Father in the bait, the Father in the house, that started moving in me. And he reminded me of that. So I get a message from this family member that I have been like, okay, Father, thank you. I can't wait. Because her and her husband, we were very close. She's my niece. She's only 6 months younger than me. We grew up like sisters. And they're deep in Calvary Chapel. And I have just kept, for the last 20 years, just kept my mouth lock and key, throw it away. And I just love on them. And I just share where we can share. But I know how passionate they are. And when they grab this, oh Lord, the world stopped. Well, recently they have felt they had to leave the Calvary Chapel, and they're just outside of church right now, and they're not sure what God's doing. And then she sends this to me yesterday. Hey, have you heard of the movie Harbinger, Things to Come by James Caan? And she says, my friend recommended the movie. She said it was really, really good. So we're going to rent it and we're going to watch it. And I was like, oh, Father, I knew right away. He's doing it. And it's so exciting. It might not be today and it might not be tomorrow, but it's soon. Can I say that to you? It's soon, ladies. It's soon. Whoever you're praying for, can you get excited? Because it's soon. It is his will. Does anyone have anything to add? And sorry, I didn't mean to preach. All right, I will hop over here too. I'm going to finish out this. I did have a few things that I pulled out through going through. I went each week I've gone through this course, obviously building it out with Brenda, but I went through and I'm picking something here and there and here and there. So just wanted to give you a few of my takeaways from this, from her courses. Where do we see Messiah in Beit? And I put a couple notes here. We have the Resh and the Vav that kind of make it up, and it's the rulership and dominion given in the home, man on a throne to govern. So isn't it, do you see, you can see the picture of Messiah in the Beit, because it is in, even in writing it with the Resh and the Vav, we see that there. And then the Father has released his patriarchy. He's released life and legacy to the family, being a shadow to the heirs of their identity. And I love, if you're going through and you just read, I was watching the Where's Messiah? Where's Yeshua video. And again, it's less than 20 minutes long under Beit. If you looked at, and she's talking about, and then she refers to the other. So then I had to go back. I'm like, I don't remember. Gosh, it's been 2.5 years since she did that video. So I have to go back and watch it. And it's really understanding the shadow. There's so many shadows, and how there is a shadow to the heirs and their identity, and how that all happens inside the home. What happens? We have the firm Vav as the foundation. If you, in this letter, we bring all we have into our homes, and we exchange what we have for his perfection. It's not our perfection, it's his perfection. We come into that house, we come into the Beit, we come into his presence. We see the tabernacle as the Beit, right? We see it had the door. We see the tabernacle as we come into that, and we bring everything in, and we exchange. He exchanges beauty for our ashes. We see that happening under these secret places in this Beit. It's a safe place for teaching, learning, growing. It's that place where you're trained up. It's a safe place to learn, and it's a safe place to learn how to fail. And I think that's really important, that we learn failing forward. It's a very safe place to learn how to. I have prayed that the Rooted Cafe would be a Beit. It would be a safe place for you to learn, a safe place to fail, and everyone to go, that's not, but no one's attacking you. You're not feeling, you're not afraid to say something that might be crazy, because, hey, it might be the new revelation we all never saw before. It is a safe place for us to learn and fail together. Look at all the children huddled in this tent. And it would say, when the blessings were given over the Israelites, we just learned this back in Balak, is he's saying, how lovely are the tents. One of the things about the tents is a reference to the teaching places. We see that when we see that Joseph was brought up in the tents, or we'll say he was a man of the tents. And who else was Jacob and Esau? Jacob was a man of the tents. It means that he was the one that went in. That's where the learning happened. He was there growing and learning in the things of God. So learn how to respond to the voices of authority over us. This is a place where that happens. This is a place, it's a safe place where you learn how to shema and shamar those authority. Start learning his voice. And again, that shadowing. Aaron's training, we look as an example, and Brenda gives this example. Aaron's training the priests to intimately approach their king. And who are they? It's a shadow. They're standing in as a shadow in the place of Yeshua. And this was my favorite thing. This is my number one biggest place. This is the place you learn how to get to God. And then we just talked about the hearts of the home. We did that. Any feedback, any more stuff? Kim, do you have anything to add? And I know you have such great stuff you've been studying in the past on this. She might have, she already had to hop out, I think. Any feedback around the table here? I'm going to go through and read. There's a book study in the Rooted Cafe, Strength of a Woman. Yes, there is a book study. If you go into the cafe calls, and you'll see we have a book club. We did it last summer, and we did the Strength of a Woman, and you go in there and get that. If you go into our store, there's a link there that takes you to Amazon to where you can actually get the book. Mine is, I'll eventually need another one, because I still am going in and out. So thank you, Lauren, for sharing this gift, because I mean, mine is flagged and tagged and written in, and thank you for that. It will give you a new perspective of Proverbs 31, but it's a really great resource in going through this, because again, Proverbs 31 is an acrostic to to the Aleph Bet as well. It's another one of those verses and chapters. But what's really great about it, it's going to give you another perspective, because all you're doing is just taking the same letter and turning it a different way and turning it a different way. And so again, today we learned a little more about how it's the heart and what does that look like, and seeing that word lamed bet bet, we see the double bet, bait and bait. We see the two of those together and we're like, oh, lamed, we'll learn later, is about instruction. I always think of it as a shepherd's hook. It's not used to beat you, but it's used to guide you. And we think of this 23rd Psalm, to me, has a big lamed over the top. It's teaching me and shows me how I'm guided, how he takes me through the processes. But we see that's the word for our heart, is where the training happens in our home and in being the heart of the home. What if Torah is the heart of our home, and we are Torah? It's written in our hearts and we're walking it because he abides in us. So that means his word abides in us, right? Maybe you don't have that whole thing memorized, but you're starting to learn these letters. What if you just, like Crystal and I, she was talking about last week, it's just the letters. Crystal, do you have anything to add?
It's the letters. They're pretty powerful.
Yeah. Any insight at all on this week's bait?
Well, the bait, when you see the letter B and you see that dot in the middle, what do you call it? The
doggish.
I keep wanting to say the Dalit, like from Doctor Who. Sorry. Anyway, when you see that doggish in the middle, you say the word ba instead of va, you see that ba has a more powerful punch to it. It's like whenever you see the Dalit, you feel the punch. And when it's there and the Holy Spirit is in the house, there's the punch, there's the power that's there. So, and then there's the time when you have to be the softer person. So which letter is on your heart? Do you need the bait with more of a punch and more of a power, or do you need the vav where it's more soft and the breath of God? So you always look, which letter am I going to use today for that?
That's beautiful. And I know you'd mentioned talking even with your daughter about what's the letter that's missing, what letter's missing in my heart, what's the letter missing in my life right now that I need to work on. And I pray that as we go through this, that he reveals some things to you that you're like, oh, this is a letter that's actually missing in my heart. Because if we have all these letters down, I know Crystal, this is a revelation that she had, but you get these letters down, you have the word down. Right?
Yeah. Not only do you have the word, it's like when you try to teach your children the alphabet and you teach them A is for apple, B is for ball, whatever. So every time they see the letter A, they see an apple. Or every time they see B, they see a ball. But the Lord takes it even further. And whenever you see the bait and you see the house and you see everything that it represents, and you have that understanding of what it stands for and what its energy is and how it represents the Messiah and how he's in all of this, then when you see the letter bait, then you see all of this and you can't hide it and nobody can take it away from you. And when those letters, I told you this before, when those letters are written on your heart, then he can write his story. We no longer hold the pen. How many times do our children, they're like, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to do this. This is my daughter right now. I've got to get this schooling done because I got to make this amount of money because I have to do this when I have a 5-year plan, I have a 3-year plan, I have a 20-year plan. And I'm like, maybe you need to put the pen down and let God write the story. Because all you have to do is put the letters there and he'll take care of the rest.
Beautiful. Yes, Miss Patricia. Thank you, Crystal.
So is the letter bet the same as the word BEIT bet?
That's how it's spelled. It's bait is where's my helper? Bait is going to be I have my little cheat sheets here. The word is spelled the same. You have it bet. So we have bait for the word, but it's also the way that you spell the same thing for house. So it is actually the same word.
Well, that's what I thought, because
And temple.
so
You know?
my ministry, Bet Shalom, and I don't, am I saying that right? Bet?
It's
Or-
bait like mate. Good day, mate. Like bait,
Okay.
bait shalom.
Okay. Is
But if you
is
say bet, everyone knows what you're talking about.
it's the name of the prayer room,
Mm-hmm.
which is what God gave me,
Mm-hmm.
House of Peace, which is so much more. But I don't know. It just hit me that that's the letter that we're studying, and that's what we're trying to accomplish here. Just very wonderful that God speaks to us in appropriate times.
Yes, yes. And it's perfect because you can see it now. You see when he's given you this word for the bait, the part of bait shalom, you understand that word shalom is this, not just, oh, it's peace,
Yes.
it's this
Yeah.
place where people can come in. Now hopefully you're seeing a dimensionality. They're going to come in into seeing that picture, like see that tent, like those Bedouin tents,
Yes.
seeing that where they're coming in, the doors open, they're coming, which could be dangerous. I know we've talked about that. It can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
The door is open, but it's a place then where the things that are fractured will become whole.
I'm really kind of surprised at how many people have put up resistance towards me opening this prayer room.
Well, I mean, I would feel like you should expect that.
Yeah, well, I do.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
expect it and be
amazing.
excited for it, what you heard, if it's the Father, and yeah,
Yep.
that's it. That's all you have to be accountable to is, that the Father told you to do it. So that's what you're going to do. So sorry if they don't understand, Anyone else have anything? Carol, I want to hear from you.
I actually didn't get a chance to get into bait yet.
Yes, but share with your Aleph. I know you have some Aleph stuff you did.
Well, I took and I did the word study, and then I wrote them out using the words
Okay.
that I studied. And this is what I came up with. How happy are those whose walking of life is perfect and complete, who live by the Torah of Adonai. How happy are those who watch and defend something that testifies and beats with a whole heart. Each one of these, even now, I still cry because it's telling me that when we love him with our whole heart, it's testifying, it's coming through. But then it goes on and it talks about how we're supposed to stand upright to his appointed portions. And because we stand upright, we shouldn't fail in our hope and our expectations. And the last one was, I will profess you with straightness of soul when I have grown accustomed to your rightness to impose punishment. I don't think we realize that even today, he has the right to punish us. And it's not a punishment in like he spanks us like children, but there is a consequence to our actions. And we have to realize that he has that right to do that, because that's pruning us, that's guiding us and getting us on and keeping us on the path that we're supposed to go. But the last verse was, I will guard your appointed portions. Oh, do not loosen the bonds on me to pass over me. For as long as I can remember, my prayer to him was, don't pass over me. Don't leave me behind. And the olive portion just reminded me that he's not leaving me behind. Even when I feel alone, he's right there with me.
Amen. Amen.
So it when I rewrote it using some of the definitions of the keywords and put it in probably the way it was supposed to have been read originally, it just kind of opens up the word, and it brought an excitement that I haven't had in a long time. It put an excitement. I want more. And it's been a long time since I have felt that way. I want more. I can't get enough.
That's exciting. And I feel like you probably will find that I'm just mute you real quick just because it's echoing in my head, echoing, but you're going to find then as you were reading now, what you did, the homework you did for Aleph, as you were reading that, you're seeing now, I'm sure every time now you see the word heart, you're going to see bait, the heart of the home. You're going to see that even more. It should build on, and it'd be kind of fun keeping those in a notebook or writing those prayers out and just keep adding to those prayers. I'm going to share my screen with all of you who, if you're new or, and this is a good time if you are, if you sign into your Cafe library and you go, your Cafe, ever get sick, you sign into your Cafe library and you go down, you'll see all the classes, all the things, keep on going. There you go. The ABCs of 119, and you click on it. And then you'll see she's talking to this week. Let's just open up this week's. So we have this week's class. The video's not in there yet, but here it says keyword study. You can click on this. I do have the PowerPoint in there already. The keyword study, you open it up, you download it, and then it looks like this. So what I've done is I'll take the script for like 9 through 10, 11 and 12, 13 and 14. And again, do it. No, don't do it. Please don't feel stressed like, oh God, I have one more thing to do. But you can see that this was effective for Carol. And what it is these are the words in that verse, and then having you rewrite it with a better meaning. So looking up the word cleanse, and should we do it? We have time. Let's just quick. Let's do real quick. So if we say like the first word is cleanse. So what you would do is, hopefully, can you guys see me? Someone, can you see me in Blue Letter Bible right now going in? Tell me yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So Psalms 119, and that's in 10, right? Are we 10 or 9? 9, right? Yeah, 9. Psalms 119, 9. So this is how I would do it. So here we are. This is Psalms 119, 9, and I know I'm going to do these word studies on these. So here's the first one. I'm going to click on it. There's that word cleanse. I'm going to click on it. He's talking about being cleansed, and I'm going to scroll down. And again, we have this in the Blue Letter Bible for Not So Dummies, step-by-step how to do that. I also, if you go into your discipleship, if you go under the cafe calls under discipleship, just I think last week, I did several of these again. But if you look up, here we go, there's the word cleanse. And so it's H2135 and it's zakah. So let's go to the word study. You would put the Strong's number, that H2125. The Hebrew word is zakah. Okay. 2135, sorry, zakah. And you're going to click on that. And then it is a primitive root, and it tells you to compare, but you can stay on this one. It's zakah. So you're saying, okay, what does it mean to cleanse? So you scroll down. We don't want the English because we don't want an English definition of a Hebrew word. We want to see what the Hebrew definition. So you come down here and it says to be pure. Okay, well, that seems like it makes sense, right? To cleanse himself. And again, remember that it's the bold is the first, and then all the little ones down here are just like sprinkles and icing that you can add dimension to it. So to make pure, to cleanse. And then if you keep going, you can see all the other places that word zakah is actually used throughout the word. So if you ever want to do a full word study, you can see down here, the word isn't even cleanse. They use the word pure, but it's the same word in Hebrew, zakah. But a lot of these have something to do with cleanse. So we say to be pure. So then you're going to go back here and you're going to write to be pure here, to be pure. And then you'll go to the next thing, way, doing the same thing with each one of these words. And then through that meaning, you can kind of rewrite these two verses using these meanings that you've come up with. And sometimes you're going to find that it won't be as easy as cleanse. It won't mean to purify. It could mean something a little bit different. Did you have a word, Carol, that you wanted to share that maybe was a little bit different?
I'm trying to get to my notes.
I love that you did that because I think I hopefully encourages. You can see the depth. A lot of people will ask us, and our heart this year is that we really do work on discipleship, and people say, gosh, how did you get that from that verse? How did you get? It's because it's what happens when you study. He opens it up to you. He opens the word to you.
Well, I found it interesting that in verse 1, seek meant to rub, to beat, to tread. That's not at all what I thought that it would mean.
There you go.
I thought it would be to search, but to rub and to beat, completely different than what you imagine. And I think that's why, don't get me wrong. I've been a believer my whole life. I haven't walked this path my whole life, just the past 12 years. And I've always spent time in the word. And Yehovah has always spoken to me through his word. But now it has breaking it down like this just gives it a completely different view, meaning, and opens your eyes to what he's really trying to tell you.
Yes. Thank you, sis. So I'm going to go back and show you guys. Someone asked where to find, where do I find that? So it is, if you go, when you sign into your membership portal, if you go into sign into your library, I'll go back. It'll look like this. Once you sign in, if you go to therootedcafe.com and then you sign in either under member login, or you can go under here and log in. And if you want to get back, you can always hit my library, and once you're signed in, it'll take you here. And these are everything. So we have a how to study the Bible. Then we have that Blue Letter Bible for Not So Dummies. It's a quick little course, and we show you how to use the Blue Letter Bible, and you can do these word studies. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. Again, if it's on you can download it on your phone, or if you're going to print it, you probably want to download it on a computer, unless you can print from your phone, which I do both. So you click on here. Here's our class we're in right now. So you're going to click this one, and the example here this is the first lesson from last week. So you can just click on the lesson if you're wanting to know what she's talking about. These are in every lesson. I'm going to do them every week. Here it says keyword study. So you click on that downloads, and you'll click download, and mine's downloading right now. So it downloaded it. It's a PDF. So now I'm opening it up because it downloaded. And then now you can print these out and do your word studies. And so she was talking about that seek. There's what she was talking about. Once you get to the word seek, you'll find out that might mean something. And she was saying it meant differently, like to rub into, you'll find it looks a little different than maybe what you think in English. Sometimes the English translation doesn't give it justice, and you need more dimensionality. And again, knowing how to do this, I'm going to recommend that you go and watch that class on how to do Blue Letter Bible for Not So Dummy. It's quick. It's going to show you how to get to the root of the word, instead of just so that you actually how to do a word study. And if you need help, please let me know, but I will ask you if you've watched the video first. So watch the video. And then also last week in the discipleship class, I also did it again, showing you kind of how to do it. And we did some examples from different verses. We picked some people's favorite verses. So I am going to, I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to hit we'll stop recording after I pray, and then we'll get we'll get some questions and let you go for the day, right? So again, in the downloads for this class, we had a gift. And so I'm going to, let me make sure. Yes. We got it all right. So Amanda McFadden, she got to do something fun with her family today, but she put these prayers together. So I printed them and put them in little things for my binder for this class. And what she did is she turned each one of the verses into a prayer. And again, those are in your library under the downloads under this course. So under Beit. So Father, may we keep our way pure, and may we guard our way according to your word. May we seek you with our whole hearts, and may we not stray away from your commandments. May we treasure your word in our hearts, and may we not sin against you. May we bless you, Yahweh. May we learn your statutes. With our lips, may we rehearse all the rulings of your mouth. May we rejoice in the way of your testimonies above all wealth. May we meditate on your precepts. May we regard your ways. May we delight in your decrees. And may we never, ever forget your word. Amen. Father, thank you. I ask that you bless these ladies and that you guard it and you seal this word in their heart today. Amen.